It's time now for your weekly fishing reports and real-time outdoor news. This is the Southwest Outdoors Report.
Hi everybody, your Southwest Outdoors Report is on the road again in our continuing quest to bring you all the fishing news from our four-state Southwest region. And on today's show, we're going exploring on a little adventure to a place that I've never been fishing before. Welcome to Southwest Oklahoma. We're coming to you from the Wichita Mountain Range, just a little bit north and west of Lawton, Oklahoma. Now in this area, there are 5 lakes within an easy drive. They all have great fishing for several different and unique species of fish. And on today's show, I'm going to give you all the information you'll need, the gear you'll need to come up here and do some of this fantastic fishing in Southwest Oklahoma. Now, while I'm out doing that, we're taking you around the rest of the region for your weekly fishing reports from our team of reporters from the Texas Gulf Coast, state of Louisiana, Texas freshwater, and the rest of the state of Oklahoma. We'll also have your big fish photo of the week on the Costa Catch of the Week. Somebody wins a brand new pair of Costa sunglasses. You'll have the Academy Right Stuff, talk about the gear you'll need if you're coming up here to do some of this fishing, and you do need some unique gear to do it. And we'll also have your Ask the Pro answer to your fishing questions. So while I launch the Nitro Z8 and get us ready to fish, we take you back to the FSN studios. Here's Julie with your weekend planner.
Let's get you set up with all the information you'll need for a great fishing trip. A check of the Salooner tables predicts good game fish activity this weekend. Peak time should begin at 11:15 a.m. on Saturday and again at noon on Sunday. Expect sunrise to take place at 6:50 with sunset happening at 8:02. And we have a new moon beginning on Saturday, so your weekend evenings will be very dark with very little moonlight. We'll be right back with all of the current fishing information from around the region, and Edwin Evers will join me for this week's Whataburger Ask the Pro feature. Stay with us.
The Southwest Outdoors Report is brought to you by Tracker Boats, Fish the Finest, by Lowrance, and the all-new HDS Gen 2 with Structure Map Overview, by Strand Fishing Lines, the standard of dependability, by Costa Sunglasses, see what's out there, and by Academy Sports and Outdoors, right stuff, low price, every day.
There's one. Oh, look out there. Yeah. There is a bass. Get it started right there. A Southwest Oklahoma special. Come up here. All right, hey, welcome back everybody. Your SOR is on the road today. As we mentioned just a couple of minutes ago, we're just outside Lawton, Oklahoma at some of the great fishing that they have here, and there's just a skinny post-spawn male bass right there. We'll let him go back. And I want to tell you, this is just a gorgeous area here. As you can see back here in the background, just all these Wichita mountain ranges that kind of run to the north and west of Lawton. And let me get you set up on what the lakes are here. First of all, probably the closest one is Lake Lawtonka, which is northwest of Lawton. And then connected with that is Elmer Thomas. It's a much smaller lake that actually feeds into Lawtonka. Then there's Lake Ellsworth, a little bit further north. And then if you want to branch out to the west is Tom Steed, and go the other direction to the east is Lake Waurika. So there are 5 lakes, all with different species of fish in them. So we'll talk about what the species are for the particular lakes coming up in just a minute, but I'll tell you that to start off with, Lake Ellsworth up to the north is a murky, kind of an off-color lake. And I did go up there and do a little fishing yesterday, caught a nice crappie. It's a real good crappie lake. Talking to some of the locals, they kill them on crappie. Now I did also meet some really nice guys with the Lawton Fort Sill Bass Anglers. They were having a little Tuesday night tournament there, and they said it's a good bass lake as well. It takes about 14 or 15 pounds to win a 2-hour tournament on Tuesday nights. All right, let's get you started with your weekly fishing and lake report. Let's head back down to Texas. Here's Brian Hughes.
Hi everybody, and welcome to this week's Lone Star Lakes, brought to you by Andrews Custom Leather, the best in custom and exotic personal, law enforcement, and cowboy action shooting accessories. Now, this week we're going to go out to O.H. Ivy, which is actually 30 feet low. However, they're still giving up good fish at O.H. Ivy, including a Good Friday Lunker over 13 pounds. You'll want to watch where the water level was most recently. If it's falling, you'll need to go out a little bit deeper. If it does happen to come up a little bit, fish that new water line and use a variety of post-spawn baits, including drop shots, jigs, and Texas rig lizards, worms, and crawfish. You might also want to fish on Lake Ray Roberts. The crappie there are moving back out of the creeks toward the mouth. You can catch those on minnows and your standard crappie rigs, and next, they'll be showing up at the deepwater Main Lake brush pile. And finally, moving out to Lake Palestine, good catfishing being caught right now around the marina docks and the dam area. You'll want to use your prepared or cut catfish baits. That's this week's Lone Star Lakes, brought to you by Andrews Custom Leather. Be sure and check out my picture on the webpage for more information on Lone Star Lakes. Now let's check in with Mr. Bill Olson. He's on the coast.
Hi folks, this week's report is brought to you by Port Aransas on Mustang Island. Surrounded by pristine bays, estuaries, and the deep blue waters of the Gulf of Mexico, Port A is truly the fishing capital of Texas. Come fish, golf, and play Texas Island style. For more information, visit the website on the screen. Well, spring winds and rains raked the Texas coast last weekend and the first part of this week. Just as quickly, conditions settled, and during the middle of the week, anglers experienced some excellent fishing. Such is the case when higher tides and strong winds are the norm. Some of the better catches on lighter wind days have come from the jetties and passes as speckled trout continue to move back into the bays. Sabine, Galveston, Port Aransas, and Port Isabel jetties report good catches of trout, sheepshead, and black drum. San Luis Pass and Pass Cavallo report trout are making their way into the surrounding areas. Best catches have come from along grassy shorelines in water to 3 feet deep. Soft plastics on 1/4 ounce jig heads or live shrimp under a rattling float have produced. Anglers in East Galveston Bay and San Antonio Bay continue to catch fish while drifting or anchored over mid-depth shell reefs. Play the tides and fish the deeper edges and cuts on falling tides or near the top of the reefs on rising tides. Longbar continues to be good for both speckled trout and reds on the lower coast on live and cut bait. Throughout the week, check out my updates on our website. And this weekend, both Saturday and Sunday have a double tide schedule of 2 high and 2 low tides each day. I'm Bill Olson, and I'll see you on the coast.
There's one, real shallow. That looks like a little smallmouth. It is. All right, well, let's just ski him in here. Not much of a fish, but he's the right species. Hey, welcome back everybody. Your SOR is up in southwest Oklahoma today. That's a little smallmouth bass. And let me talk to you about the next lake. This fish is going back. And right now, we are located at Lake Lawtonka, which is northwest of Lawton, Oklahoma. Now, this is a very gin clear lake. You can see down about 6 or 7 feet on a normal day. And as you can see, there's not a lot of cover in the lake. Right here behind me, you can see a few little scattered bushes in real shallow water, but mostly it's rock structure along the shoreline. Now, there are some giant smallmouth bass in this lake. In case you missed it the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about the new Oklahoma state record, 8 pounds, 7 ounces, caught right here in Lake Lawtonka. So it's a good smallmouth bass lake. It's also a good crappie lake, and Lawtonka is a good walleye lake. I'll talk to you about that here in just a little bit. But right now, let's check on the rest of Oklahoma. Here's your report from there with Gary Collins.
Hey, this is Oklahoma. It is springtime, so we've got lots of weird stuff going on with the weather. But if you're in part of the state that has your lake messed up because the water is either rising or going down, don't worry about it, the catfish are biting. Lots of really good catfish reports coming in from all across the state, and actually an excellent report from Lake Keystone near Tulsa. Particularly active right now are the blue cats in the channels, and they are in the shallows. By shallows, I mean 10 foot of water or less. So look for them in these areas, and if you see bait fish activity, really concentrate on those areas. If you're fishing a river system or in a creek that has some current to it, set your bait up so that's in front of the brush pile or a log jam or some type of cover, so that scent is drifting down into there and pulling those catfish out of that. You're going to catch them doing that. Also, if you're fishing a bank, which bank fishing is great right now for catfish as well because those fish are shallow, use that current or wind to your advantage as well, using a small float with a bait below that and setting up a small drift so it goes down in front of a bank or an undercut bank. Great way to catch those catfish. And this time of year, if the water's coming up, again, check the backs of those creeks. If it's going down, concentrate more on the points. Again, really look at 10 foot and less of water. And of course, Oklahoma's famous for its noodling, so I say we challenge Barry Stokes to come up here and do some noodling in Oklahoma. How about it, Barry? One thing about it, you can't catch them if you don't go.
This week on the Lawrence Hot Lake of the Week, I want to highlight some crappie fishing around the region. Crappie fishing is about to explode everywhere, so choosing one lake is very difficult. But for this week, I chose an old classic lake that's always great for crappie. It's Lake of the Pines in deep East Texas. So let's show it to you right now on the Lawrence HDS-10. It's north of Longview and Marshall, Texas, between State Highway 159 and 49. It's an old lake. There are some silted in areas, but there is good crappie fishing all over it. The lake is at near normal level right now, and it's slightly stained. During the spawn, you target the flooded willow trees and buckbrush bushes in 1 to 3 feet of water. There are tons of these in the upper half of the lake in the form of flooded islands. Be careful. You can run in the boat lane only, but outside that, the depth ranges from 3 to 12 feet. Get out in those clumps of trees and brush, fish the edges where it drops off into the small guts and deeper channels. Use a long Mr. Crappie pole. You can get those at Academy along with the little reel that goes with it. Dabble in the middle of those bushes to get a live well full of crappie. That's this week's Lake of the Pines, East Texas, Lawrence Hot Lake of the Week. Stay with us. When we come back, Cajun Phil and Kevin will have your Louisiana fishing report, and I'll have more from southwestern Oklahoma.
The Southwest Outdoors Report is brought to you by Mercury, the official outboard of the Southwest Outdoors Report for 10 years running. By Excite, start positive, stay positive. By Lou's Reels and Rods, feel the difference. By Whataburger, proud to serve it hot and fresh 24 hours a day. And by Onyx Personal Flotation Devices and Rainwear, keeping you safe on the water.
Hey, welcome back everybody. Your Southwest Outdoors Report on the road just outside Lawton, Oklahoma at the 5 good fishing lakes they have here in this part of the Sooner State. And right now I'm on Lake Lawtonka. The Oklahoma Department of Wildlife has done a fantastic job of putting a catchable population of walleye in several of these lakes. Not only walleye, but sauger and saugeye, which is a cross between the two. And I'm going to net this fish, if I can ever get him to give up. Straight down. What do we have? Big saugeye. Oh man, look at this. Oh man, I have caught a good one here. That's the way they grow them here. Caught it on a little Bobby Garland baby shad. Let me tell you that there are walleye, sauger, and saugeye in several of these lakes. It's a catchable population. You can actually fish for these and have a great chance of catching them. And folks, they are great eating fish, and Lawtonka is loaded with these. All right, show you a couple of quick shots of a couple of small ones I caught yesterday by myself. There we go. And I was just out here doing a little scouting for this show and caught several nice walleye and had my little suction cup camera with me, but neither one of those are as big as this bad boy right here. All right, let's move along to Louisiana, see what's going on with Cajun Phil and Kevin, your weekly fishing report from there.
Hi friends, Cajun Phil here with your Fox Louisiana Fishing Report. I tell you what, let's start off with bass fishing because I have made some phone calls this last couple of days and everybody we talk to is catching lots of numbers of bass especially. Now the bigger bass, they continue to be in 5 foot up to the shoreline. In other words, not very deep for the bigger bass. And oddly enough, the same 2 baits that was predominant last week, the spinner bait's the #1 bait just about every lake we talk to. It seems like chartreuse with a white skirt, 1 gold blade, 1 silver blade's been doing good, 1/4 ounce is the best size. Also the flapjack's been doing good in 2 colors, chrome and also in crawfish color. Also, we want to talk about saltwater action. I tell you what, from Mississippi to Texas right now, the entire Louisiana coast, we're getting nothing but favorable reports. Captain Kevin yesterday morning at 7:30 called me and said, Dad, already got a 3-man limit of redfish. We're headed out now to catch a speckled trout. By 10 o'clock he called, so they picked up some 40 trout. So also tuna action off of Venice is real good. We got some reports from Captain Mike last week. He said they're catching tuna, they're catching wahoo, and they're also catching some amberjack. So friends, you need to give us a call or send me an email, CajunPhil@hotmail.com. Tell you what, let's go fishing.
Hey, I want to show you one more bass that we caught today, and let me talk about the largemouth lake. If you want to fish strictly for largemouth, then Elmer Thomas is a lake that's located just above Lawtonka. It's a very small lake, it's idle speed only, and it dumps into Lawtonka, but it's got primarily largemouth bass, and they've caught several double-digit bass out of that lake. So I'm gonna let that one go back. And I want to mention a couple of other lakes. Lake Waurika is south and east of here, and it's primarily a hybrid striper lake. It's an off-color, kind of dingy colored lake. A lot of huge 10-pound plus hybrid stripers come out of that lake. There's one more lake we haven't talked about, and I don't know much about it. Due west of Lawton, it's Tom Steed. And I know it does have some largemouth bass and some crappie in it, but beyond that, I don't know much about that lake. But that gives you the overall feel for what species are in which lakes in this region. 5 lakes within a close drive of the Lawton, Oklahoma area, all with excellent fishing. Stay with us. When we come back, we'll have your Academy right stuff, show you some gear. We'll have your Ask the Pro expert answers to your fishing questions, and somebody wins free Costa sunglasses on the Costa Catch of the Week.
The Southwest Outdoors Report is brought to you by Nitro Performance Bass Boats. Fish your best in a Nitro. By Gene LaRue and Bobby Garland Lures. Quality soft plastic baits made in Oklahoma with American pride. By Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day. And by Motor Guide Trolling Motors. Engineering for angling.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for our Whataburger Ask the Pro feature. Our question this week is from David in Texas, who writes, when using plastics that are Texas rigged, is it better to use a pegged weight head or a moving weight head? For the answer, let's check with Bassmaster Elite Angler Edwin Evers.
When I'm Texas rigging and I'm flipping in bushes, around docks, any type of cover, I always want to peg my weight to make that bait drop down through that cover. But if I'm casting a Texas rig, I don't peg it. I want to let it get away from that bait, get a little separation from it down there at the bottom. You'll get just a little bit better hook set on those long casts with a Texas rig. Cover, peg it, casting, don't peg it.
Thanks, Edwin. If you have a question for one of the pros, just visit our website at southwestouttdoorsreport.com, then follow the Ask the Pro link and send us your information. Now back to Barry with our Costa Catch of the Week.
Time right now for the Costa Catch of the Week, where someone wins a free pair of Costa sunglasses each week here on the show. And this week's big winner is Danny Frost of Fritch, Texas. He is shown here modeling 2 big uns, including a 9-pound largemouth bass he caught out of Lake Allen Henry out near Lubbock, Texas. And by the way, he won the tournament, and a pat on the back. That's a nice Texas Ranger baseball pat you got there, Danny. He wins a free pair of Costa sunglasses of his choosing at the Costa website at costadelmar.com. Now, this month's frame style is the Costa Tag. It's the same one I'm wearing on today's show. You can see it at the Costa website here. It comes in several different frame colors, several different lens colors. You can see it all at costadelmar.com. And if you'd like to enter the Coast to Catch of the Week contest, simply go to our website at southwestoutdoorsreport.com. Right-hand side of the screen, it's the Coast to Catch of the Week. Click on that. Log in to your member account and fill out the form. You too can win a free pair of Coastal sunglasses if we choose your photo. Time right now for the Academy Right Stuff, where we tell you what gear you'll need if you're coming to these lakes here in southwest Oklahoma. And it begins with a bait cast reel. That is the top of the line Team Lew's speed spool reel. All the best components. It's a great bait caster, and you'll also need a spinning reel. That's the Lew's Speed Spin 300 series. As far as the baits go, there are three that I would recommend. Beginning at the top, that's a soft plastic jerk bait. That is a Jean LaRue salt flicker, and you'll rig that on a 5/0 offset worm hook without a weight. They catch a lot of bass, both largemouth and smallmouth, on a swim bait at these lakes. That's a Jean LaRue Sweet Swimmer on a lead head. And finally, you'll need a crappie bait to catch not only the crappie, but I caught those walleye on a Bobby Garland baby shad rigged on a Moglo 1/4 ounce jig head. Line is also a big deal here. You want some very clear line. I use Stren Fluorocast on today's show. 6-pound test on the spinning rod, 10-pound test on the bait caster. Hey, great fishing here in southwestern Oklahoma. Come give it a try just outside Lawton. 5 different lakes to choose from, several different species. I will be back because it is a blast. We'll see you next week. Until then, I'm Barry Stokes. Be safe, have fun. Bye-bye, y'all.